Okay, time for the proof. Lesson 2 of this week. We're going to prove the sine is equal to the cosine. We need the definition, and then of course the function that we're actually using is sine. So I'm going to say sine. Put sine in for the function we're using. Now we want to prove that this equals cosine. Now you probably remember from the previous lesson, we need to know how to expand that. And remember from yesterday's lesson, x plus h, remember what that equals? That's the sine of x cosine h plus cosine x sine h. And that's again called the sum formula for sine that you learned last year in trig. So what do I get then? So then I have the limit as h goes to 0 of the sine of x cosine h plus cosine x sine h. So I expand that out, and then don't forget the minus sine x here, and then all over h. Now, at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to switch those two, right? 7 minus 5 is the same as negative 5 plus 7. So let me just say that again. We're going to switch the order in which we do the work, which is okay, isn't it? All over h. So I'm just going to put the negative sine x there. Now, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to break up the division at this plus sign. All over h plus, oh, something's not right here. Oh, you guys, when I wrote the formula here, that's sine h. Change that to an h. There we go, now I'm happier. Sine h over h. So then, when I'm doing my division, it doesn't matter. I could divide the first two and then divide the h at the plus sign there. Then what you're going to do is you're going to factor out the sine x. And you factor out the cosine x. Now remember, in each of these, we're taking the limit as h goes to 0. Kind of being lazy, but not writing it here. And if you remember what we did yesterday is we showed that this was 0, and we showed that that was 1. And of course, 0 times anything is 0, and then 1 times anything, and ta-da, there it is. Here is the proof that sine, this derivative, is cosine. So the derivative of sine of x is cosine of x. Let's do cosine real quick. It's very, very similar proof. Very, 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 very similar. When you do this one here, when you, this time when you FOIL that out, or not FOIL it out, when you use the sum and difference formula, you got to use the minus cosine x all over h. And same thing, you're gonna notice that it's almost identical. You're going to then switch these terms around. All over h, and then same thing. the only thing here is you got this minus sign here. We're going to break things up with the minus sign instead of a plus sign. No big deal. All over h minus sine x sine h all over h. And then again, factor out the cosine. And you can see it's going to be extremely similar to what we did. Factor out the sine. And again, being kind of lazy here, remember this is the limit. As h goes to 0. Not x. Oops. I know I'm in the way right now. I'm going to get out of the way in just a second. I just forgot to write the limit thingies. And again, from yesterday, we know that's 0 and that's 1. And then, of course, 0 times anything is 0. Don't forget the negative. There it is. There's the derivative of sine of x. So that's the derivative of sine and cosine. And in the next video, I'm going to do the last four.